Hey, I heard you missed us. We're back. I brought my pencil. Give me something to write on, man. That is, I swore before, and I'll swear it again. It's one of the great swing songs of all time.
It is.
That's some fucking Tommy Dorsey, Chick Webb, Benny Goodman, all wrapped into one. Just set in the 80s. And it's awesome.
Yeah, hey, you can toe tap to that one.
Straight the fuck, dude, that's one of the, that's along with fucking, as I said before, with ELO's, Don't Bring Me Down.
Yeah,
those gotta be like the ultimate toe tappers.
Dude, yeah.
You know, we talked about this before we went on about making lists, checking them twice.
Yeah.
You know, just not for the holiday, but, you know, in general.
For
toe tapping? Oh, that's
toe tapping 80s music?
Oh, toe tappers in general.
Yeah.
There's, you know, jeez, you can throw in some old honk, you can throw in some, a little bit of Bowie probably in there, a couple songs. You know,
I think my pick was Dire Straits. Yeah.
Money for Nothing?
Yeah, Money for Nothing.
Yep, that's up there. That's up there. Hello, folks. Good to be back. Ian, Nate, Moon Tower Podcast. Hello.
Dynamic duo back at it again.
Yeah, baby. Hope everyone had a good holiday. Hope the turkey is moist. Hope you didn't have to deal with too many rough relatives.
Or turkey fryer fires. That
really?
would be bad.
I haven't heard of those.
No, not from any friends I haven't heard.
No?
I don't know how many fried their turkeys though. So.
I've heard the asshole relative story a few times. I was fortunate enough to not really have that.
Yeah, no, I never fried turkeys at all when I was growing up. I think 2 years ago, we tried a sous vide one, like the beer cooler method. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I think we did that, but not like frying. I think it's as extreme as we ever went.
Yeah, never did that. The whole relative thing, I never had a problem with, because Thanksgiving was basically the four of us and Grandma.
Okay.
And then Christmas would be usually go to my mom's brothers, and her family would get together. Because my dad's side of the family, we're never really like close.
Same on my dad's side of the family too. Like most of them lived out in like West Virginia too, though. So it's kind of hard getting out there during the holidays anyway. But
yeah, I never really had that problem. I never had the problem of the asshole uncle that was like spouting whatever opinion that he had.
Yeah,
I've been at the table a couple times elsewhere where that happened, and it was the grandparents who were subtly racist. Not this time.
Okay.
Not this time around.
Yeah.
But no, the holiday was good. Got to see Ma for her birthday.
Yay!
Went down to Lima and cooked her steak dinner.
That's very good. That's very good for you, Ma.
Yeah, it was good. Ma was happy to see us, but we watched the Ohio State Michigan game, which wasn't really a game after halftime.
Yeah.
The first time we'd done that in a while, and we're going back for those.
I was getting kind of pumped about the Lions game there for a minute, and then they kind of dropped the ball there, so to speak.
The Thanksgiving game?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
They're doing good there for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm a Lions fan from being a kid. I was a big Barry Sanders geek.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first and last team I really got into football-wise. Good memories.
Well, at least you got in with you got in at the time when he was still in his prime.
Yep.
So I can see why rooting for him and then the team he plays for.
Yep.
I kind of did the same thing with Marino and the Dolphins, as cheesy or generic as that is. My pops liked them, and I was always rooting for Marino to get the ring, and never did. So I was like, nah. But
did I tell you I have a cousin who plays for the Ravens? Chris Wormley. He was playing for Michigan.
Really?
For a couple years there. Yeah.
If you mentioned it, I probably.
I might have some point, but it's probably been a solid year because we're not doing the Fighting Angry Goat segments anymore. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah. In case you hadn't noticed, that team was fake.
They're still real to me. Yeah.
They're champs, man. They're champs.
They're exploits. Those are real.
They're champs in our hearts.
Right.
But once again, we hope you had a good holiday, and looking for the big one coming up, Christmas, and that's Christmas is usually when the rough and tumble of the proletariat come out, the shopping folk, and everyone's trying to get their meals and their presents. And
yep.
I don't know, being in food service, it's kind of a little bit of a relief as compared to, I can imagine someone that works
those
in
are
the
like,
mall.
Peak hours there. I mean, if you're making money, so. Yeah. Can't go wrong with that. I mean, it's stressful.
I mean, but as opposed to someone who works at like the mall or Target or
Barnes and Noble
I
would hate to work.
Walmart
or retail.
Insert like the true blue retail.
Yeah.
We technically work retail, but it's not stuff.
Yeah.
It's meals.
It's not commodities. It's more, fucking, groceries, food, food service, whatever you want to call it.
It's definitely commodities, but I mean, I guess in your case, it's
Usually it's not as bad during the preliminary holiday. It's after holiday, after people start using the gift cards.
Oh, yeah.
Restaurants start getting the real hit. Like that January, February after the fact, because people will buy like Valentine's Day gifts or birthday gifts earlier. Whatever.
I didn't fucking think about that.
Yeah, that's a big draw. And months after, like Christmas and whatnot.
Yeah. But I was thinking about, we were talking before we went on about the old horror stories, and I didn't have one this year. I actually was the one that did it myself this year.
Oh, dang. Do tell.
It almost got bad. But then I was like, I'm going to go over here and breathe. Because I did it myself. And I was wicked embarrassed after it happened. Even worse, I had taken the order that I was freaking out about.
Oh, man.
So, it was literally, just me just right down the line. But, lady came in, she's a regular, and I always get her name mixed up with another lady who, they look similar.
Okay.
So, the lady, her name's, I'll call her Miss Julie.
Okay.
I took the order probably the week before. The order was done. And she comes in, and I'm kind of in a,
yeah. A little bit of a funk.
A little bit
medium
of
funk.
a bugger mood.
Yeah.
And she comes up, says hi. She knows my name. I can't remember hers.
Julie.
And I'm like, but I thought she was someone else.
Yeah.
So I even addressed her as the other lady's name.
Yeah, we're can reach that side of things. Like you just see hundreds of people a day.
Yeah.
So people blend into each other. I get it.
So, and she's like, "Is my order ready?" I'm like, "Yeah, it should be ready." And her order was done, but since I couldn't remember her fucking name, I'm like, "Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?" And Bob was on lunch, and he never carries his phone on lunch, and he had prepped it. And I'm like,
man.
"Call Bob!" And then I look at the order. I'm staring right at it, and it's got her name on it. And I walk out, give it to the clerk, and I just walk in the back. And at one point, when I'm trying to call Bob, one of the dudes, my dude Brad, he's getting on my nerves about it. He's like, well, Bob, showing me that he's got Bob's number. I'm dialing it in and fucking it up on the phone.
Oh, God.
I'm trying to call him. He's like, that's the wrong number. And he just kept chipping at me. I'm like a little prick. You did a great job. And I just turned around and was like, shut the fuck up! And the phone, he's just like, ugh. I'm like,
okay.
And I just realized what was going on. I'm like, okay, I've done this before. I don't want it to happen again. I looked at my manager. I'm like, I'm taking 10. And I just went into the back room, and I just sat there like this, like, stupid. So stupid. I felt so shitty about it. But that was the only one. Thankfully, it wasn't anything like major, like someone lashing out, like someone else doing that, like a customer or whatever. Because I had the one.
Oh, it can always be, extravagant. Well, at least you didn't get to that. So.
Yeah. Because I had the one lady told me when you ruined my Christmas when I accidentally screwed up her order because she had the same last name as someone else.
Yep. I mean, you live in like this part of the city or whatever. There's like a lot of like I know like a lot of like Polish families have like similar last name or like Irish. Yeah. It's very very small list of people, so yeah, it can get confusing.
Yeah. So other than that, no big holiday meltdowns. The last month or so, went out to the Pacific Northwest. I don't know if I mentioned that that I was doing that last time we recorded. Actually, last time
I think I remember you mentioning it. Anyway, yeah.
I had a good time. It was.
Oh yeah.
it was the first time where I went out not wanting to really explore the city. We went to Tacoma and Washington. Flew out to Washington. Saw my brother, saw the niece, and it was a great time. I mean, it was just like, family time. Went to Seattle, when we were in Tacoma, 3 days, or 2 days and 3 nights.
Okay.
Decent art museum.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was very surprised. They had the Tacoma Art Museum had an impressionist, like French impressionist painting exhibit. So I saw like some Gauguin, some Edgar Degas, Renoir, like the old masters from the mid 1800s. I'm not well versed in my painting, so yeah, forgive me on that. Very impressive. First of all, I didn't expect it. And the exhibit, I thought, was pretty well curated.
Yeah.
They had a little bit of each, and the way that they had it set up, it was basically revolved around like the timeline of that movement and painting.
Okay.
Where like each, the first painting was like at the beginning of the movement, and at the end you had like the full expression of it.
That's neat.
Yeah, it was.
It was very like a grand tour of this time period.
Basically, yeah. Like a little diorama.
Yeah.
Then they had a nice glass exhibit because I think his name's Dale Chuli, well-known glass blower from Tacoma.
Okay, hell yeah.
He's like, I guess, one of the most famous in that area in the world, or was. I don't know if he's still alive. I can't remember. I read the bio, but they had like a nice glass exhibit, and then they had this is the biggest surprise. This is really cool. They had the other main exhibit was they had two. One was Native American style carvings and sculptures.
Oh, neat! Oh yeah.
Like buffalo and birds and they're very intricate, very well done. They had a lot of woodwork in there. That was like, it wasn't like native based. It wasn't like somebody who studied it did it. It was like from the natives, like
that's pretty
fucking Indian artists. But the one that I thought was really cool. Pause for interruption. Sponsor.
That's Blue Ribbon.
I can fuck that shit. But they had an animation exhibit for the Simpsons.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
And they had like some of Wes Archer's original sketches of the main characters of the family, and they had bits, basically stills, and it was the original sketches from, they had certain characters, certain like running jokes, and how they would use animation to tell those jokes, how they would use the animation to set up, punchlines or set up scenes, and talking about the details, and then it went into
a lot of like visual gag nonsense.
It was part of it. Yeah, that was
I love that shit.
And then that went into how the show's animation went from hand drawn to digital, and talking about the overlapping, how they were able to build scenes digitally through the animation, and it was very well done. It was pretty surprising, pretty cool. I guess the city Tacoma has a certain aroma to it. They call it the Tacoma aroma. I didn't really smell it. It didn't really smell any worse than Detroit. Because going into Detroit smells.
Going into Gary, Indiana.
I haven't been through there since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I remember like my dad just like easing onto the gas, like, we're not stopping. My grandpa at the time lived in Butler, Indiana, which is probably the border, but I think you had to go through Gary to get there. So. Yeah,
not only does it smell, but it's like so like festered in crime. Like the police will tell you not to stop for more than 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's one of the worst cities in this country.
Yeah.
Like as far as crime,
downright terrible,
and deterioration. It's horrible.
That's Moon Tower podcast warning of the day. Don't go to Gary, Indiana.
Oh shit! People around these parts already know that, dude.
I'm sure they do, but
or at least they should.
I'd hope so.
Because I grew up with that shit. like Gary, Indiana, parts of inner Detroit still, parts of Youngstown, parts of Dayton, even parts of Northwest Ohio, where it's not the most horrendous settings, but don't stick around.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely some caveats to certain parts of Ohio.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But yeah, we had a nice little time in Tacoma. Like I said, it was more just seeing family. And then we took. It was pretty fun. My brother was telling us about all the dispensaries and go here if you want food. Go to this, blah blah blah, and just. Because the first night we got in, we flew in from Detroit, and the flight. One of the reasons that I also went on the trip, it was kind of one of those ones where like I was gonna go see my brother and my niece regardless, but it kind of worked out in my favor because like ticking all the boxes. Mm-hmm. Hadn't been out to the Pacific Northwest before. Hadn't taken that long of a flight before because we all remember last year's the first time I flew.
Yep.
So the flight there was 4.5 hours. Both flights were nonstop. And so the one going in was 4.5 hours, and one coming back was about 3 and change. So that was good practice for me, being in the airport.
Oh yeah.
Killing time,
get yourself a little more acclimated.
Yep, being on the plane, getting used to being on the plane, and I kind of learned takeoff is where I'm like,
oh yeah, I can see that.
And it's not even like the idea of going into the air. It's feeling you leave, like feeling your
body kind of
leave the ground.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I'm stumbling. A little rough. Sorry, but
Moon Power Podcast does not shave.
I haven't bathed in 7 days. Like that feeling of leaving the ground. That's what.
Yeah.
That's the hunch, the hump. I guess I gotta get over. Like being in the air and like being able to settle in, like that whole Acme Trap door feeling that I told you about.
Yeah.
I didn't have that because I was okay. It's cool. Xanax helps.
Yeah.
Just a little dab will do you. Well,
dab.
Yep. Like just watch a little TV and read, and just every once in a while I flip open the window and be like, all right, just to get that little feeling. But
there's somebody out there.
Yeah, but I think I thought about that Shatner moment episode in Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I thought about
you always have to.
Yeah, you always think about it.
You're a fan of the Twilight Zone. Like, you have to have that thought at least once every time you go on a flight.
Just don't have that moment.
Right.
You're just like,
just make sure not to take too many snorts of that psilocybin nose spray that they're doing now.
Oh, Jesus. But, that's actually, I wanted to ask you what you thought about that, but
we'll save that for later.
Yeah, save that thought.
Yeah. I've been stewing out as well.
But the flight out wasn't bad. Went to Seattle for a day, not even the whole day, because there's a bus line that goes from Tacoma to Seattle.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. It's like 45 minutes for like $3 or $4.
Not bad. Yeah, that's pretty nice actually.
Yeah. Went to Seattle, went and saw the big market down by the wharf. Ate some bitchin' ass seafood.
Oh yeah.
Just kind of milled around the market a little bit. It's pretty cool seeing like throwing the fish, like from the boat, and you're just walking out like, hey,
that's fresh for you.
Yeah. Well, I will say though, when we got in, it was gray and raining, as you would expect. And I have to say that grunge music makes a lot more sense.
Right.
And I already loved it before. Because we were walking, we got in, the bus took us downtown. And from there, the market's only like 5, 6, 7 minutes on foot. It's not that far. And we get out, and the funny thing about Seattle is like, it's natural gray. But they have so many shades of natural gray. Whereas here, it's like chemical gray.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
They have the forestry and whatnot, and we've got the fucking refineries. So it was more of like a natural gray when it started raining. a fucking Angry Chair from Alice in Chains popped in my head, and it stayed there the whole time until we got to the Airbnb like 3 hours later. And we're just walking around. I'm like, and I'm like, yep, it fucking makes sense. And the weird thing about Seattle for me was like, it. And granted, I was only in the city for only 2-3 hours. Excuse me, about 4 or 5 hours altogether.
Okay.
It just didn't make any sense how the city's laid out, or that the downtown area. Maybe if I spend more time there, I'll have a different opinion. I'm sure, but
every city's set up differently. Like Toledo's relatively basic as far as like everything's laid out.
Yeah. But that, like, because, it's built into the forestry and into the hills and whatnot, and, like, you'll just see, like, a road just dead end and then come off of here, like, over the hill into the intersection kind of stuff. Because our Airbnb was basically on a hill.
Okay.
Like, overlooking one of the not expressway, but, like, one of the side avenues that led into the main expressway to go to the city. It was strange. It was kind of like, it was just it just seemed misshapen. Like if, how do I put it? If you approached if you went to the people who laid out the city of Cincinnati and told them to replicate San Francisco, and then put it in a damp gray sweater.
Okay, I kind of get the imagery right
now. In half a day, that was Seattle to me. Like, the roads just, like, fly out of nowhere, and like, how is this? Because it's got that San Francisco kind of thing, where, like, you see the incline streets and the houses and businesses or whatever along the main avenues and whatnot, but it just seemed more cramped.
Yeah.
Whereas the little bit of time I was in San Francisco, it seemed like this shouldn't feel this open, but it is. Or at least it felt that way to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seattle was weird.
Different, like, form of density, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was strange to me, but flight back was alright. Yeah, that's been really the big thing besides the holiday, was doing that, and just been hanging out.
Oh, yeah.
Not a whole lot going on. It's going to seem like someone's going to watch this like, fucking lazy pricks! I've been waiting for a new episode. What have you guys been doing? Just jerking each other off?
I've been kind of a lazy prick lately, I can't defend myself.
Then you come back with this bullshit. It's like, you fucking didn't shoot anyone? Like, what? But you
know that you know.
But you had the one, because you showed me the pictures of the King Diamond show you went to.
Yeah, dude.
How was that?
That was fucking dope, man. It's like, I've been listening to King Diamond for years, but I never, thought I'd get the chance to, see him. I was like, out of the blue. It's like, oh, hey, King Diamond's playing over at the Fillmore. When I check him out, I was like, yeah. And then Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats opened for him, and that was it was phenomenal. Because, it's, weird, because, on the record, they sound, really lo-fi, but when you hear it live, it's, way more hi-fi. It's like, oh, this is what they're, they kind of try to give you, a different experience live as towards the albums. Because, everything sounded, really fucking tight, but, it still felt like you were seeing, a band from, the 70s or something, really
at the
grungy.
Fillmore, eh?
Yeah. That really grungy rock and roll sound, Like a Guy Ritchie movie, an early one.
I'm not familiar with their work, but I know I've heard them.
Yeah. Death's Door is probably one you've heard.
Yeah. I know a couple cats that are into them.
Yeah, no, they're pretty good. I like them a lot. They're entertaining.
Was that the first show you ever been to at the Fillmore?
No, I saw Sleep there last year.
Oh, when I saw Priest.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure I saw Summer Slaughter there as well.
Okay. What do you think of that venue?
I think it's pretty cool. It's it kind of it feels like it's straight out of the 80s, all that gold paint.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it feels like an old school movie theater.
Yeah.
It's got that sort of vibe to it.
Because the month before, I was telling you, was when I saw Theo Von there. Which I thought was a very interesting setup for a stand-up show, but when we got to our seats, I was looking around, I'm like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Because when you're looking down at it, because it's not a big stage.
No, it really is.
It's got a lot of depth to it, but it's not like long.
Yeah,
They're
it's like
wide.
the actual like outer area is bigger than the stage itself. It like kind of like condenses at a point.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is really all it, like it was like kind of like, you know, like Vegas for the fact like distance wise, like from the actual like front of the stage to like the back of the house or wherever. There's like a lot of room for, you know, different like acts going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a for me it's a great venue to see a show at, regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
So how's old King Diamond?
Oh, the King.
Isn't that dude like 95?
He's not bad. I think he's in his 70s now, but he's still putting around a good shit. Like he's got some pipes, man. It's like he doesn't like he did that whole hour and a half set, and you know everything sounded like crisp. It was good.
What did he play?
A lot of the classics. Like he played a little bit from them. He played Abigail, of course. You know, like the classics. He had like 2 new songs that he played. That was pretty sweet.
Real quick, do tell for anyone who doesn't know King Diamond.
Oh, King Diamond.
Merciful Fate was a band that he started with.
Yeah,
I think
Metallica was like influenced by early Merciful Fate or whatever, and then King Diamond went and did his own like solo band or whatever. But he's been doing that pretty much since I think '83.
I was gonna say the early '80s.
Yeah. Merciful Fate was like late '70s into early '80s. I think they started in the late '70s.
Yeah, they're
about till '80.
Yeah, because they're considered part of the new wave of British heavy metal.
Yeah.
And how would you describe it? More operatic?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's
but not like prog.
Like not quite prog, but like his albums are still concept albums. So, like, but it's like a horror film, but like in audible form. Like he like does like these like, you know, horror stories or whatever that, you know, have like big outreach and plot. Like each song is like a part, like a scene in the movie, if you want to look at it that way.
Okay.
Like them especially, it's like, you know, like a possessed house. And King is like, you know, the main character, and he's like, you know, he gets to his house that has his grandma in it or whatever, and this house, its presence is like possessed, like everything in it's like made like really evil, but he's just like, you know, thinks he's visiting his grandma or whatever. And then it plays out in extravagant fashion. Okay. There's some bangers on there though, like Welcome Home. That was on Clerks 2. You guys might remember that from that movie.
Okay.
Grandma.
Okay.
Welcome home. That one. Yeah.
All right.
A lot of people. I mean, if you know King Diamond, you'll know that one. I'm sure. But it was a good time. Put on a good performance.
Yeah. As far as the show, are the set lists like the part of concepts, or does it just? Jesus Christ! Does he just do songs? He kind of does like a mix of both, because like the actual like stage show is like, you know, set up to like, you know, take place in like, you know, a number of these like different like worlds or whatever. He kind of like has one set to do that with, so he kind of like does like, you know, some interweaving concepts or whatever. It was like kind of like a prison hospital, okay, kind of sort of thing, like almost like a mental asylum for like the stage show. There's like, you know, like the top tier where he would go up, then it'd be like stairs leading up to it, and then there was the main stage where everyone was playing, and then the center of that was the drum riser. That was kind of cool. So the drums were up front? They were in the back. They were in the back. Up top, so you could see what he was doing. It was really sweet. Nice. And then he had like a backup singer. I think it was actually his wife, and she was really good too. I enjoyed her performance. And then there was like a lady like doing like, you know, like the actual like kind of like the song interactions or whatever, I guess you'd call that. Like visualization, whatever was going on. Is it spoken during the song? Like King's like singing it, and like, you know, like then the lady who's like part of the stage show is like acting out like these scenes or whatever. It's kind of cool. Okay. Like yeah, if you can look at like some live footage, maybe we can check that out after this. It's some pretty neat shit. You know, he's King Diamond and Merciful Fate in general. Like that's. I've always wanted to get around to him. I just haven't. Yeah, it's a lot of shit to get into. Honestly, it's pretty. He's put out a lot of fucking shit over the years. Like I don't think there's like he doesn't really put out like bad ones. Like kind of like it's more like, you know, personal preference. I'm sure you'll find one that you kind of like jive with. Okay. Opposed to like some of the other ones. Like I tried the Eye, honestly. That's got like some cool like Judas Priest moments, I feel. Okay. Because I've heard. I first heard about them and dick moment because of Garage Incorporated. Yeah. When Metallica did the Merciful Fate medley. Oh, okay. Yeah, on the first side. Oh, yeah. And then in the booklet they have all the 4 songs charted off. I went back and listened to those. but I never stuck it to memory.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know some cats that they're part of, like, they're up there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's not that I don't like it. I just never got into it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
As of yet.
Yeah.
So.
There's some good. I'm sure you'll find something you like.
I hope so, Nate. You've been talking it up.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, to check something else unless it was, like, primo quality.
Well, we really haven't talked since last episode.
Yeah, dude.
So
for that.
Nate, how are things?
Still on the job hunt, technically. I mean, I had a place downtown that I've been talking back and forth with. They've been giving me phone calls like, hey, we're going to get you in, and, just hasn't quite, haven't quite got the availability locked down or something like that. They're busy. So I'm kind of, like, exploring some other venues here and there, restaurant-wise. I think one of my buddies had a opening over, like, a breakfast joint, so I might check that out. So
somebody get this man a fucking job. He's earned it, god damn it.
I think so. Yeah. I just need to pay more money.
That's all I want to do. Yep. So, Nate, tell us about this nasal mushroom spray that they're coming out with.
Apparently, I want to say it's in Washington. Like, East Coast or West Coast states. They're making basically like a nasally ingested psilocybin spray so they can microdose for like depression.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you need, like, because I saw the headline, but I didn't look at the article.
Yeah.
Do you need, like, prescription for it? Do you need medical insurance?
I think we're testing it stateside. They're making it in Cuba right now, as far as I have read.
Cuba?
Yeah. So I guess they've done tests out there a little bit, but I haven't heard anything conclusive, so I imagine it's still in the early stages of anything.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Cuba's getting slick, man.
Yeah.
Well, the Castros aren't in power anymore.
Yeah.
So I guess.
That's the coca.
So what's the thing? Is like they're making it in Cuba and shipping it here.
I guess like they're
to
probably
be used medically
it to do the research.
Oh, is it like?
Yeah.
Is there a certain group that's behind all this as far as the funding and the research?
I don't know the specific group. I could tell you, but I imagine it'd be someone like I think they're doing it medically right now.
Okay.
So it'd probably someone at least reputable. I would say.
Well, wasn't because Colorado did that earlier this year, right? They made psilocybin legal.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
I don't know if they made. I don't know if it was hallucinogens altogether.
I want to say it's just magic mushrooms.
I believe so, because that was around the time where they said that weed was cool, which it is. that was the pretty slick thing about Washington, about Tacoma. When we're up there, is dispensaries. They're on point.
Okay.
And
I've heard good things.
They got a whole mess of selection. And let me tell you, I'm not really big on the dabs.
Mm-hmm.
I've done them, but it's not something I do usually.
Yeah, it's definitely a special occasion. It works better than
the oil is. It's like at least. I don't think they even sell it unless it's like 90% at least.
Yeah.
It's pure. It's clean because like sometimes you can get some stuff around here where it was like wrapped up in a dryer sheet in someone's pocket. It has that feel like
the most affordable stuff that I came around was like about $70. It was still really good. Like the stuff I was getting was like pretty well.
Yeah, it was clean.
Yeah.
It was clean. Like the whole anxiety thing that I talked about wasn't there. I was just like, but totally.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, I could see myself getting goofy on some Andy.
Well, I'm curious now since Michigan did their whole thing, what their process is going to be, because they made it 100% legal, right?
Yeah. No, I want to say 4 dispensaries open on Sunday, and then a couple more throughout the next 2 weeks here. I want to say it's going to be like 12 to 16 total.
That's funny. That's funny. I saw a meme. Dude was hanging over the medicine counter talking to the pharmacist, and he's like,
man, can I get some clean water? He's like, no, but I got free weed. Which is funny. I mean, it's great. But in that regard, it's like, man, these people can't even get a clean drink of water.
Yeah, no, it's
but they can get
pretty sad.
High, like government supplied high, which is not.
That's because, you know,
it's not government supply,
costs
but
money doesn't make money.
Yeah. Well, it was what you were talking about. What you were talking about earlier about, you know, being in the food industry around this time of the year.
Yeah.
Talking about like food being a commodity, water being a commodity.
Yeah.
We talked about it a million times before, like the whole consumer advocacy stuff that we mentioned. And I said something to the effect of, and it's fucking true, where that stuff's a commodity. It's not just a natural right to have.
Yeah.
And that for me is a part of where capitalism went wrong. Not to go heavy and deep right now, but like it's kind of where it kind of went wrong, is it commoditized just nature.
Yeah.
Which is it's just funny. And
I'm not. It is like we haven't like really like reconsidered like, you know, the priority of things. We've always just like had a price on things and it hasn't changed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like we have enough to feed 10 million people, I think, food wise, but like people are still going hungry. It's like, how does that
God
work?
damn it! They didn't get up that morning and go to work. All right, Jesus Christ! You know, you got to break some eggs and make an omelet. All right, or whatever Jack Nicholson said. But no, I just thought that was funny. And it's great. It's absolutely great. I'm curious to see if in Michigan if it replicates what happened in Colorado, where the surplus that they made was far beyond their expectations.
Yeah. No, I hope they take that money and, you know, fix up some. But first things first, they should probably do something about the water.
I've said, and granted, I'm sure it was clickbait. Don't even really know anymore on Facebook. It's straight up the Wild Wild West of information, the social medias and whatnot. But I saw that certain celebrities were donating a shit ton of money to hire basically non-union workers to come in and fix the pipes in Flint. For instance,
I've heard about
in
that.
Detroit,
like,
shit like that.
Also celebrities are like, I'm throwing money at this so we can take care of it finally. Cause, like, it's pretty ridiculous.
And once again, like, can we get a musical benefit for Detroit?
Yeah.
Can we get one? Has there been one? There's been one for New York.
So like feed the world, clean the water.
Yeah. Clean the water. But yeah, why?
McCartney on that shit.
I was curious, is like, why has Detroit been the one that's like kind of left behind? You know, the East Coast, the West Coast, the South, they all get stipends, they all get dividends, they all get that emergency help when disaster strikes.
Yeah.
But like you look at Detroit and it's just like, because Detroit, it's crime riddled, it's crime infested, and it's drugs and the plague and fucking locusts and horrific economic conditions. But that's the thing, I gotta give it up for Detroit. From what I've heard about, like, some of the, I guess, economic or infrastructure renaissance that's been happening around downtown.
Yeah. No, like, as far as I can see, like, you know, like, downtown Detroit, like, they got some good shit happening down there.
And it's so odd, like, even going up the block to the Fillmore.
Yeah.
Because that area that the Fillmore is in, which is around the corner from the Easter Market, and from a sweet-ass, good-ass pizza joints, it's definitely like a different neighborhood. You're only 5 minutes away.
Oh, dude, like, from, like, the parking complex, me and Chris went to see King Diamond or whatever, like, right around the corner, like, one of the nicest bars I've ever been to, the Rusty Crow. That place was sweet. It's like, you know, like, there's, like, 3 other bars just like it, like, not just like it, you know, like, decent quality. And it's like, I can tell, it's like, man, like, this is, like, compared to Toledo, like, it was, like, you know, high class, honestly.
I do hope Michigan, if they play their cards right, and if they get that surplus that like Colorado's had, that they kind of mimic what Colorado, at least on paper, from what I've seen, what they've been doing is, you know, counseling programs, rehabilitation programs. They've been able to fix up like some infrastructure.
Yeah.
Jobs, the whole works. They've been able to like, I guess, like fund like certain sections of healthcare and education from like I think it was like $1.4 billion.
Yeah.
That they made because of legal weed.
I mean, that's like for a state, that's quite a bit. You can do a lot with, you know, $1.5 million.
Yeah.
Easily.
But flip side.
Let's hear it.
I don't know what it's like in Colorado, but I've seen like around these parts, the prices that you're paying for what you get as far as the purchase ain't worth it.
Yeah.
Like they're overcharged. They're basically price gouging marijuana. They're basically price.
But that also say like in Michigan at least, they're also giving you the option to be able to grow your own plants. So if you know what you're doing and you want to put the work into it, do the right idea.
Yeah. I never got. That's another thing. Agriculture was never my my stipend.
It has been a hobby in my past year.
I knew a couple. Once again, like I actually take that back. An old friend Dom had basically a garden in his basement. He had like a setup like this house, like the way this house is set up. It was very similar to his, maybe a little lower on the ceiling.
Okay.
And he had this whole rig that he had set up in like the dining room. And he could just roll it out to the living room anytime he wanted. It wasn't in the basement. It wasn't in the closet. He had basically a giant box. It literally looked like a shitty science experiment, but he had like this whole cast set up that the plants were growing in. He had the tube, and it was everything was air sealed, or like airtight. Everything was like it was pumping oxygen into it, and it was just like a living room adornment. I went over there one time and he had it out. I'm like, what the fuck are you? He's like, I'm getting the plants natural sunlight, because he had it in. It was like a little greenhouse.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
Nice.
And then
my buddies had like a hydroponic set up in the closet, but it was actually like really well done.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's always impressive when you have like the closet space and it's just.
Yeah. They had like the whole like CO2 exchange system going. That was actually kind of slick.
The worst one I saw was dude had like a small closet, like basically a standing, and he had a few plants going, but he kept a light on it. Kept fluorescent lights on them. Kept them on 15 hours a day, like 20 hours a day.
Yeah. With like the timer or whatever.
But he ended up burning them out, and like because he kept so much light, like.
Yeah, no, you have to do
artificial light on them.
It's like 12-hour cycle.
Yeah. Because he kept so much artificial light on them that basically the male plants became retarded.
Yeah. But, no, yeah, you definitely start like, you know, cooking them after a minute. You gotta be careful. There's some sort of features.
I gotta give him up to him though. Like going for the go of it. Like anytime you see a dude like jerry rigging an operation, but going out with it, you know. Like the one dude I told you about had his own mini brewery in his basement. You see cats with like, you know, they're growing plants. They got their own studio, but it's like in their own little space. I got to give it up to them. Like there is definitely no animosity, but there's every once in a while I'd see a cat like that, and like, oh look what I'm growing, and come shit like look at this, and I can just tell like. I'm no expert, but that plant ain't supposed to look brown. Somebody shit on that.
Cold for a little bit.
Somebody shit on that. You ain't gonna have a good Christmas. But
oh shit! Irishman came out over Thanksgiving. Am I right in assuming that you have seen it yet?
Well, I'm very glad you asked me, Nate.
I'm glad I did that.
Yes, I did see it.
Right.
Thanksgiving night, and it's still lingering with me.
Oh, dude, yeah, I saw it like 2 nights ago. Yeah, no. It's it.
Do I think it's one of Scorsese's best? I think over time it could be considered.
Okay.
I think right now it qualifies, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm saying
That's a pretty ringing endorsement.
top 7 or 8, maybe top 5 right now. I'm saying that with the initial reaction that I had, I fucking loved it. And not just because it was my version of the Avengers, as I said before. Not just because it's those 5 guys working together in that, with that kind of sprawling storyline.
Not to mention, like, the cameos. The cameos are, like, something in of itself.
Well...
Yeah. We can talk about that later.
Oh, no, the cameos were part of what helped pull it off.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking Jim Norton as Don Rickles.
Yeah.
Killed.
Fucking Ray Romano did a good job.
Dude, fucking... That was the first time I saw...
I didn't think that was Ray Romano at first, honestly. I
was
saw
one
that
of
in the credits, like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Ray Romano? No way.
That was one of the first...
Oh, it's the fucking lawyer. Shit.
Yeah. It was one of the first times he did great.
Yeah.
And I should have known that with that sprawling of a storyline, 3.5 hours long, those 5 guys, it would all come down to the little things about that film.
Oh, dude, the thing is just, like, full of detail.
It
satisfied the nerd in me for that sort of shit,
Yeah. It came down to all the little things. And little things, I mean, for instance, the scene towards the end with Pesci and De Niro in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And De Niro's got snake eye contacts in because he's about to do in Jimmy Hoffa. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it. If you haven't, then...
We all know he's dead.
Yeah, Jimmy Hoffa's
I hope you know
done
Jimmy
dead.
Hoffa's dead.
I thought Pesci was absolutely fucking terrifying. Quite possibly...
Oh, yeah.
Everyone loves Pesci in Goodfellas. That's a fact. You can look it up in the book, in the fucking dictionary, whatever. It's in the Library of Congress. It was one of the last pieces of information that was kept from the Library of Alexandria before it got burned down. Like, it's a fucking fact. Everyone loves Pesci in Goodfellas.
Oh, yeah.
Pesci in this, absolutely terrifying. The age, his natural, when it was naturally aged, he stole the show. And I thought everyone did a very damn good job.
Oh, yeah.
I thought Pacino as Hoffa, it was fun. It was very on point.
Yeah.
It was exaggerated. It was theatrical.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
But it wasn't overboard.
I feel like Hoffa wasn't portrayed as like Hoffa, but like as a character you would imagine Hoffa being, and he pulled that off.
Yep.
Yep. At a stop. It's great.
The whole thing with leaving the door open, the ice cream sundaes, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like the one part where he's chewing out his associates in the room, and De Niro leaves because he's offended, and the one part he's like, "I'm going to jail. I'm going to prison." Like, fucking hilarious, dude. And you know what, Bobby D, he brought it. Out of everyone, like, I'm actually most proud of De Niro for bringing it, because he that kind of character he plays so well, but he's never done it a lot. The kind of character where it might be the main character, but he's not the one in control. It reminded me a lot of what he did in the role of Lewis in Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
In a way. Whereas Lewis in Jackie Brown was a definite side character where it's one of his best roles ever, because he just does nothing. He does nothing. And he fucking nails it. Whereas Frank Sheeran, I thought the way he played him, he tried. Excuse me. He made the character try to be stoic and be that like baseline kind of character. And I thought he did a great fucking job. I really do. I've seen some of the criticisms and heard that he's one of the weakest roles. And well, I'm like, I thought he did great.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's that.
Well, you can understand like the kind of guy that Frank Sheeran was. He that sort of like acting style that he had to use. Yeah.
I thought he did great.
Yeah, no,
I thought the scene, the whole scenario of him leading up to the Hoffa hit, I thought was some of the best acting he's done in the longest time. And I thought, as far as a set piece, fucking Scorsese killed it. When he gets off the plane, gives Pesci his sunglasses, gets to the car. There's no fucking background music. It's all natural sound.
Yeah,
and
got,
then does
a good,
the
10 minutes of tension leading up before that. Like, that really kind of makes that
fucking...
Yeah.
Oh, dude, there's so many times I was like, because they all brought it. That was the thing. And they all brought it in the way that I didn't think they were going to bring it. Because I was getting so hyped up about it. I know there's so much hype about it. Where you expected, a lot of people were kind of let down by it, unfortunately, because they expect
like the momentary nature of like those sorts of scenes. So like it's like like stuff, like extreme things happen like in the moment. I think that's like big, screaming sales point right there.
Because I think a lot of people expected a spectacle.
Yeah,
and it's not what they got.
Yeah. That's supposed to be it's supposed to be kind of like, like a retelling of a story. It's like, those things, those rash decisions happen in a flipping moment.
Well, and to let the moment play out.
Yeah, it's chaotic in nature, and that's how it should be portrayed.
And one of the things in that in that regard that I thought was most absolute fucking brilliant touch was, did you notice there's a couple times where De Niro and Pacino flubbed their lines and kept going?
Yeah.
And he kept it in? That made me so fucking happy. It made me so fucking happy.
Yeah. It made him look nervous, and it was like,
exactly.
It felt.
And you know what? For all 3.5 hours, the pacing I thought was stellar.
It didn't feel like 3.5 hours.
I was never.
I was able to sit through it and just kind of absorb everything that was going on.
Well,
it felt like watching a couple episodes or something, but I didn't want to leave my seat and do a whole lot. I wanted to get right back into it. Like when I did take a break, because I did a couple breaks too.
We took 2 breaks.
Yeah.
Took a piss break and a smoke break.
Yeah, I feel like you need it properly digested. You don't want to consume it all as fast as you can. Honestly.
That was a thing too. Like, I've sat through 3.5, 4, 5 hour movies, but they all had intermissions. Yeah. When I saw this one that didn't have an intermission, I'm like, oh, okay, how's that going?
It kind of gives the option to make your own intermission.
Which is the thing that with Netflix?
Yeah, that's definitely convenient. So I was talking to Chris over the phone. That's probably the best way to do it. Is take it as an episodic, 3-part series or something like that. Do 3 hours at a time, something like that.
I am very curious about because I'm gonna watch it. I just don't know when because I don't have Netflix.
Yeah.
The neighbor does, but it's 3.5 hours, which doesn't matter. But you gotta make plans for it. It's like taking mushrooms.
Fair enough. No, that's good.
But I am very curious about how my reaction will be the second time I watch it, and getting over the excitement, because I would have sat if we had a little couple smoke breaks or smoke break and a piss break, and then the signal kind of cut out a little bit here and there. So to see it, I'm very curious. But my excitement, because of all that, I would have sat there through all of it. So I'm now that it's settled in, I'm curious to see what my reaction will be the second time, and hopefully to sit through it all the way through for 3.5 hours.
Oh yeah.
But the pacing I thought was the most key part, because that was one of the more unexpected parts for me.
Now,
Because-
like, for like like a long movie, like it felt like it was like moving like relatively quickly. Like from like moment to moment, like you start like in the early stuff, that it doesn't feel like you move too far from that. By the time you get to like the middle of the movie.
Well, and I think too, like the scenes moved at an even pace. The editing ratio, like letting a shot play out and then editing it to another shot that will play out. I thought that was. It wasn't wonky. It was very smooth. There's a little bit like during the driving sequences in I think the second third of the film. I think like when Frank's trying to get Jimmy Hoffa to agree to the sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that stuff could have been trimmed. But I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it was too detrimental.
No.
I guess because I didn't notice too many moments where I was like, okay, come on, let's get to the next part. Or whatever you're saying.
I found myself just very curious about what was going to happen next.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
good tension.
It did have that.
Keep me going.
It did have that. I was just very happy that the little details of the film are what stuck out.
Oh yeah.
And seeing and reading, hearing some of the criticism, I'm not going to say that people didn't get it, but I think over time it'll hold up.
Oh yeah.
Because I think people will go back and see where those little moments are and see the little details that actually made the film what it is. Because it doesn't have this grand, sprawling feel to it. Like, say, Godfather 2, for a film of that length. Or Once Upon a Time in America, which both of them De Niro was in. Once Upon a Time in America is Sergio Leone's last film. And it's this... I skipped Godfather 2 because I would like to assume everyone knows Godfather in the second one. Once Upon a Time in America is one of those ones where if you know it, you love it. And if you don't know it, you should see it. Because that's that clocked in at 3:47. It's almost 4 hours long.
Oh.
And it's about a gang of Jewish kids who grow up together, and they basically form a version of what became Murder Incorporated. It's the Jewish mob in New York during the time of Prohibition. And De Niro, James Woods, William Forsythe, and I can't remember the other actor's name. They play the adult version, and it's this grand sweeping tale of these boyhood friends who grow up together, and there's betrayal, and then there's double cross, and this, that, and the other. And then De Niro's character grows old and comes back to his stomping ground and tries to figure out what actually happened at the basic climax of the film.
Yeah.
But it has this very just grand, and that's the way Leone was with his films. You go back to the Dollar Trilogy, or Once Upon a Time in the West, or Fistful of Dynamite, and you see that. It has that grand, Italian narrative, very operatic.
Mm-hmm.
But with The Irishman, it was very just boots on the ground kind of thing. It had that kind of like a salt of the earth kind of feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And
you almost feel how the character kind of experienced it, because it moved, like I said, it moved kind of relatively fast. It's experiencing all that stuff, moment to moment sort of stuff.
But you caught everything.
Yeah.
It allowed us.
It's not really dense in the details that you were saying. I really appreciate that for sure.
Well, the density of those details didn't weigh down on it.
Yeah.
It allowed those scenes to envelop and allowed those scenes to
expanded
breathe.
things rather than make them feel weighed down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, that was another thing. People expected more violence, Well, there's plenty of it. It's just used sparingly to show you that moment.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I think it works better in that context.
Yeah. And I thought it was fucking terrific. I really was. I was just so overjoyed that they pulled it off the way I felt.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not glorified violence. Let's just say that.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, it's like it just shows it like what it for what it is. Like, oh hey, that happened.
But people are pissed. It's like it seems like they're pissed about it because like the movie dicks. They're like there wasn't enough violence because you would expect that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other ones that I guess would say, well, they're telling this man's story, so obviously they're glorifying his story and what he supposedly did.
Well, they go through like his background or not. If he's already been through something, you don't have to like exacerbate on the fact that he's been through war and whatever. It's like that's a fact. Like we've already been through this stuff. Like this is what's happening right now. It's kind of like moment to moment basis.
Yeah.
It's just part of the storyline at that point. So, keep moving.
Yeah, and I thought it was so. Once again, it was so evenly paced. It could like just as surprising as I thought the pacing was. Not to beat a dead horse. It could be one of his best paced films, Scorsese. Just the flow of it, I thought was just so perfect, and is exactly what the film needed.
Yeah,
and
I wasn't disappointed anymore watching it. I was engaged.
Well, and here's the other thing. The de-aging. What did you think about that? The de-aging technology.
Earlier in the film, it looked a little bit rough, but as it got middle age, it started to incorporating a little bit better.
The only time I had a problem with it, and granted it was the first time that it was shown in the film, is when De Niro and Pacino, and Pesci first meet each other.
Yeah,
at the truck
exactly.
stop.
Yeah.
Where it looks like their heads are like it kind of
De Niro looked like Bryan Cranston.
It kind of looked like no, dude. It kind of reminded me of Goldeneye, the big head, the big head cheat code. It reminded me of that.
Yeah,
because it looked forced upon the body.
Yeah, definitely.
But the middle-aged shit, I thought was on fucking.
Oh yeah, midway through this movie, you really couldn't tell a difference, in my opinion. And, it worked. It worked well. In that context,
the truck stop, and the part where he's in Italy.
Mm.
The de-aging, I'm like, I get why you did it, but you could have got somebody young to play that part.
Yeah.
But I
would have been mad if they got someone new.
I would not have either. And I respect the fact that they went with it, and it's another reminder to me as far as that de-aging technology is that it doesn't matter. And Scorsese did this to me with Hugo, the 3D kids movie. I saw that in theaters in 3D when it came out, and I'm sitting there going into it, I'm like, fuck man, Scorsese's making a fucking kids movie. It's in 3D. I sat there, I'm like, oh fuck, this is fuck. It was. Yeah. And I'm like, and the same thing with this, with the de-aging. It's it doesn't matter. It's not just him, just in general. It doesn't matter what kind of technology or whatever tools you have at your expense. It's how you use them. And I thought like what you said, once the movie settled in, the middle-aged parts, I thought was crispy.
Oh yeah.
Crispy.
You couldn't tell it was he was older playing those roles. It's the way they edited it or whatever, they made it work very well.
Very well. Now, I mean, obviously we have to, just to bridge off of that, there's going to be the awards buzz.
Mm-hmm.
Best supporting actor is going to be up to Brad Pitt and Pesci right now, or at least it should be. Once again, Joe Pesci fucking stole the goddamn show.
No, he did.
And once again, De Niro, Pacino, Harvey Keitel for his once. Actually, the biggest beef I have with that movie is not enough Harvey Keitel.
Because I was really excited about that. If there's a beef that I have with that, not enough Harvey Keitel. Of course, I mean, you can never have enough Harvey Keitel. It's kind of like Kurt Russell. You can never have enough awesome. Anyway, I thought fucking Pesci was... Oh, Pesci fucking killed it. Killed it, dude. Killed it. Absolutely fucking terrifying. The scene where they're... The Christmas scene where they're opening presents in the living room and Peggy won't say thank you. He's like, it's okay, Frank. She said thank you once.
I honestly, I didn't feel afraid. I felt kind of sad. It's like you can see, like,
really?
you can see the degeneration at that point. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you know, he dies like fucking, like, all of them die alone.
Yeah, that's...
I'll look at that one.
Dude, that's actually a good fucking point.
Yeah.
That's actually a good fucking point. Because the way he did the name badges for each character and how they got killed, like the headings and the freeze frames, that's a good fucking point.
That's at least how I kind of like experienced like that moment.
And within the movie, who's the only one who doesn't die alone? I mean, he dies alone, but he's killed. It's Hoffa.
Yeah.
As far as
he dies within the delusion, so it's like it's not even like, you know, like taking much away from him.
Yeah. The Crazy Joe, who Sebastian Maniscalco fucking killed.
Yep.
That's Crazy Joe Gallo. Well, yeah. That's a good point, because I thought, you say sad, I thought he was fucking terrifying. Like, yeah, good for him. So happy. Like, overall, like, yeah, they all brought it. It's a great fucking movie. If you can withstand the length, which, to me, that shouldn't matter. It really shouldn't. Like, if you have the excitement or the anticipation or the want to go see something, do your homework.
Yeah, you have the opportunity to break out some parts and you have to.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I would do if you don't have time to, like, you know, that goes you want 7.
Yeah. No,
totally understand. We get you. we're not film crews here.
Yeah,
debatable, but at the same time, we at least understand.
No, I think that's a good outro for this one.
I would agree.
I don't know if we came back with a fury, but we came back.
The Phoenix rises! Hey man, the Furies, they never die.
Hey. Alright folks, this episode, YouTube, we're doing the YouTube still. This one will be up on the YouTube when you see it, as I'm sure you're watching on the YouTube, as I mentioned it. We're still on the good old social medias, right?
Indeed.
Facebook, Moon Tower Podcast. Twitter, Moon Tower Podcast. Instagram, European_Ian. Check out the old stuff on the SoundCloud, Europe_Ian. That's another thing I kind of like biffed on, I'm not gonna lie, is keeping up with the social media.
Oops. Yeah, we'll get back into it. We got to do a revamp here.
Dick pics for everyone. But once again, folks, appreciate you. First episode back. Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good night.